Florida quarterback Emory Jones has officially entered the transfer portal. Where does he land? Let's talk about it. What is up, college sports fans and fellow members of Mountaineer Nation? This is Coos, and welcome to another edition of Coos' Corner, a place where you can come in, be yourself, and let me pour you out a shot of top-shelf college sports content. Today, the focus is on Emory Jones. He had mentioned in December that he would likely hit the portal, had yet to do so until last week. I'm recording this video on March the 22nd, 2022, and he went into the portal just a few days ago. So I decided to look at some possible landing spots for Emory Jones, and is my team, the West Virginia Mountaineers, one of those spots? Before we look at the teams, let's look at Emory Jones' stats. He's been at Florida for 3 seasons, spent the first 2 as a backup behind star Kyle Trask, and then 2021 was his first 4 years as a starter. In 2021, he went 224 out of 346 passing, which was a 64.7% completion percentage. 2,734 yards, 19 touchdowns, but 13 interceptions. So he did struggle with turnovers. For his career, Jones is 279 out of 432, 64.6%, 3,347 yards, 26 touchdowns to 14 interceptions. But he also has 1,273 rushing yards for his career and 2 touchdowns on the ground. So he's just as dangerous with his feet as he is with his arm, if not more so. Coming out of high school in 2018, in part of the 2019 class, Jones was a top 100 player in the nation and was listed as the number 5 dual threat quarterback. So let's look at the possible landing spots for Jones, and the ones I think are the most intriguing for various reasons. Number 1, UCF Knights. The UCF Knights are in Florida, so he could remain in the state of Florida. He could remain in the Southeast. He's from Georgia, so he wouldn't be far from home. He could play under Coach Gus Malzahn, who was the offensive coordinator at Auburn when they had another dual-threat quarterback who I think you might have heard of by the name of Cam Newton. The year that Auburn won the national championship with Cam Newton, Gus Malzahn was the offensive coordinator for the Tigers. So he has experience with dual-threat quarterbacks, and that might be intriguing to Emory Jones. The negatives to UCF, they already have their starting quarterback last year after Dylan Gabriel went down was Mikey Keene. He was only a freshman, so he's still on the roster. And they also have another dual-threat quarterback on the roster by the name of Parker Navarro. So they already have a dual-threat guy. So do they want another one? Do they think that Emory Jones has more upside than Mikey Keene or Navarro? We will see. Second team on my list, the Purdue Boilermakers. The positive I see with the Purdue Boilermakers, their wide receiver coach, Garrett McGee, was Jones's quarterback coach at Florida under Dan Mullen. So does he want to reunite with McGee? Now the 2 downsides though to Purdue, their starting quarterback from last season is a redshirt senior. His name is Aiden McConnell, and he's planning to come back for his last year of eligibility this year. So Emory Jones likely would not be the starter if he went to Purdue. He would probably have to sit, and even though he does have 2 years of eligibility left, I don't think he's going to want to go somewhere where he has to sit a year. He's probably going to want to start day one or at least go somewhere where he has the best chance of doing that. I don't think Purdue gives him that option. And also Purdue's a little bit far from home, being in the Midwest. Next team on my list is the Arizona State Sun Devils, coached by Herm Edwards. They need a quarterback, number 1. And 2, he could play for Herm Edwards, who could prepare him for the NFL. Herm Edwards has coached in the NFL, has a lot of experience in the NFL, is a good coach, and he could go right in, play for Herm Edwards, learn what it takes to get into the NFL to be an NFL quarterback. And, oh, by the way, their starting quarterback from last year, Jaden Daniels, left the team. He's now at LSU. So they need a starting quarterback, and Emory Jones would fit that mold. He would be a dual-threat guy for him. The downsides to this, and they're big, it's on the West Coast, so he'd be a long way from home. And Arizona State is dealing with some NCAA scandals now, so they're likely going to be put on probation or get some sort of punishments. And, heck, Herm Edwards could even lose his job. So would Emory Jones want to step into a situation with so much uncertainty? But the way I look at it is, look, if he only plans to play 1 year, 2 at the most, maybe he thinks it's worth it. if his ultimate goal is to get to the NFL, maybe he thinks it's worth it to take that chance, play a year at Arizona State, prepare for the NFL, and then by the time the sanctions get levied against the Sun Devils, he'll be gone anyway and won't have to deal with it. So we will see. It'll be interesting to see if he lands there. The next team on my list, the Missouri Tigers. The advantages to Missouri, number one, he can stay in the SEC. He can play against SEC competition. There's a lot of familiarity there in that regard, even in the SEC East. And they also need a quarterback. Missouri lost their starter from last year. Connor Bazelak has entered the portal. He's no longer with the team. He's now in Indiana, I believe it is, he transferred to. So they're in need of a quarterback. They've got some guys on the roster. They have a highly talented freshman that they're excited about, but they don't have anybody that's experienced. Their quarterback room is full of young guys, young inexperienced guys. So it might be intriguing for him to go to Missouri because I think he would likely have a good chance to win the job there because he would have 3 years of SEC football experience, 1 year as a starter that he could bring to the table for the Tigers. And then last but not least, my West Virginia Mountaineers. Now, West Virginia, similar to Missouri, they lost their experienced starting quarterback from last year, Jarrett Doege, to the transfer portal. They have 3 young, inexperienced quarterbacks in the room right now with true freshman Nico Marchiol, redshirt freshman Goose Crowder, and redshirt sophomore Garrett Green. Now, Green has the most experience of the 3, but he's only played like 50-some snaps. But however, the downside, Green himself is a dual threat quarterback as well. He made most of his plays with his feet last year. So does West Virginia need another dual threat guy, and will that fit into new offensive coordinator Graham Harrell's system? He runs an air raid type system. I'm not sure. I'm sure he can make a dual threat quarterback work. I mean, dual threat quarterbacks are amazing to have on your roster. But does he fit that? Does he make too many mistakes? Does he turn the ball over too much? I don't know. Could Graham Harrell make it work? Also, West Virginia, it's noted that West Virginia is pursuing J.T. Daniels out of the transfer portal. So, personally, I think J.T. Daniels is a better fit because, A, he's a known commodity for Graham Harrell because Graham Harrell coached him at USC. 2, he's more of a pocket guy. Most good air raid quarterbacks have been pocket passers. They've not been guys who like to run the ball. Not saying the guys that run the ball not saying it won't work with a guy who wants to run the ball, but they won't. Air raid system is usually about getting rid of the ball quickly, throwing it to a spot, having a quick release, making your reads fast, those kinds of things. I'm not sure that's Emory Jones' strength. So I don't know that Emory Jones is a great fit at West Virginia. The upside, he would bring an experience. He would give them an experienced quarterback in the room that has Power 5 experience, and he would give them that extra weapon with his feet. And he's probably better. I don't want to say he's better than the quarterbacks we have on the roster now, but the experience does mean a lot at that level. It'll be interesting to see where Jones lands. Let me know in the comments section, where do you think Emory Jones lands? Do you think he's a good fit for the Mountaineer fans? Do you think they should pursue him over Daniels? Do you think would you rather have JT Daniels, or do you not want either one of them? Do you think we should roll with the guys we got? I want to hear in the comment section what you think. If you're a fan of one of these other teams I listed, would you like to have Emory Jones? Do you think he would be an upgrade to your current roster? Personally, of all these teams I listed, to me, the one that makes the most sense for him would probably be Missouri, because they do need a quarterback. He could stay in the SEC, and he would have a better chance to start. That's my take. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Once again, also, please check out the links in my description box where you can make purchases through Fanatics and or Amazon. There's also a link to BetUS where you can go place your bets on March Madness, on the NBA. You can go do some online gambling, whatever you want to do. If you use that link to get in the website, it'll help me out, help me grow my channel. If none of that appeals to you and you still want to support me, all you have to do, if you haven't yet, is hit that red subscribe button, that notification bell to get notified of future videos, and hit the thumbs up button on this video. That helps me out a lot too, helps that YouTube algorithm, and also making the comments, like I mentioned, will help as well. Well, listen, guys, I appreciate you tuning in to another episode of Couz's Corner. And until next time, Q Country Roads.